Hi, let's talk about wrong assumptions about intuitive eating because there's a lot of misconceptions about intuitive eating, what it means, what it does, what's going on there. There's a lot of information online, and sometimes information can be different. And some people think it's a holy grail for weight loss, some people think something else. So there's a lot of things that are going on, and people believe in that sometimes is not true. Sometimes it is. So let's dive deep into this. So a lot of people think that intuitive eating is easy. So basically, the main mojo of intuitive eating, right? Eat what you want. But it can get a little tricky because eating what you want, there's still rules behind it. Because if you start eating what you want, how do you define want, right? Is it your hungry eyes that pretty much want everything that looks beautiful on display, like all the cakes and cookies and all this whatever food that you are usually crave or binge on, right? So is it the one, right? Is it that rule? So not really. It's a little bit deeper. It's a little bit more complicated than that. It's a little bit more complex. And once you get into intuitive eating, what it means, how to listen to your body, then it becomes complex. It's very complex, especially when it comes to listening to your body, because everyone is different, everybody is different, everyone is unique, and there are no particular rules how to do it. I mean, I teach in my courses the simple way, a simple method, and I kind of break it down. But when we come to a specific person, to a unique human being, there's still different things that are going on in their body, and the body can react in a different way. So let's say for me, if I don't want certain food, right, I feel kind of tension in my body where no, there's kind of resistance going on, right? If I talk about specific food, or if I look at specific food and thinking about eating it. But some people can be different. It can be maybe, I don't know, tension in their arm, because I feel tension right here in my solar plexus. Maybe they feel tension in their arm, or maybe they feel, I don't know, relaxation somewhere else, right? So everyone responding differently to different stimuli. That's how our body learns from, childhood, and everyone can be different. So it's really hard to tell, your body will react this way or someone else's body will react a different way. No, there are no rules. I mean, there are rules, but at the same time, there are no rules. But at the same time, we cannot say that intuitive eating is hard, because it's not. The simple and very straightforward point is, from the point when you were born, you knew how to eat intuitively. Just when you start growing up, your parents told you what is a good food, what is a bad food. The society started making rules for food, started defining food as good, bad, in a particular way, right? They started defining the standards for body, for everything. And then our body, our mind got, cramped up with all this information, and that's where it got complicated. Because when babies are born, they're eating intuitively. When they're hungry, they cry like, I want to eat, right? Or they cry, they pooped, and they don't feel good. So they have this reflexes, and they listen into their body. When they're hungry, they eat. When they're not hungry, they stop eating, right? So it's very simple. It's very straightforward. The same with animals. They intuitively know what to eat, what not to eat, when to stop, when to continue eating, right? So they know it's intuitive, it's built in our system, it's built in our genes. But when we start involving our thinking brain, and when we start involving all the cultures, all the rules that society makes, all of this information, and then there's other stuff going on, because it also relates to our relationships with our families, and there's so many things. So I'm a therapist, and when we go into in sessions into intuitive eating and why a specific person is struggling with eating and struggling with eating disorder, right? We sometimes dig stuff up that's completely not related to eating at all. It can be, issues with a parent, or it can be a stressful situation, right? That is not related to eating, but during that time person was eating, and then it kind of the brain kind of linked it together, right? So there's so many things that can link together to eating, and it kind of become dysfunctional or not good for you at a certain moment, right? Where you don't feel like it's working for you, it's working against you. So yes, intuitive eating is not simple, but at the same time, it's not hard, because once we knew how to do it, it means that it will be easier for us to learn how to do it again, because once you know how to ride a bike, it will be easier for you to learn again how to ride a bike, even if you forgot, right? Because you have a muscle memory, you have your subconscious, your brain remembers how to do it. So it's easy, but at the same time, it's not easy. So there's no perfect answer on this one. It's just, two-way street, as you might say. So, but definitely a good tool, because that's the way we're supposed to eat, because we are intuitive eaters, we were born intuitive eaters, and we just forgot how to do it. Another misconception when it comes to intuitive eating, and a lot of people believe that, when they think that it will create changes in your body. So you either will lose weight or you will gain weight. There's a lot of, there's different school of thoughts, right? Not school of thoughts, but different ways of thinking about it. So let's talk about weight loss. And I'm talking about weight loss a lot. I'm specializing in it. That's why I'm talking about it a lot. And intuitive eating doesn't lead to weight loss. But my programs are created for weight loss. Those are, the beginning, first of all, our main goal is to eat intuitively, because that will change your life, that will change your relationship with food. So that's the main goal. But still, we try to work on our weight strategy and see how we can become better in our bodies, how we feel better in our bodies. So weight loss in general, if you don't want to lose it, don't lose it, right? If you feel great in your body, you don't have to do it. It doesn't matter what kind of weight you have. It doesn't matter what the scale is showing you. It's about what you feel in your body. So it doesn't have to be for weight loss or weight gain or anything. It just doesn't relate to it. It's completely different stories, completely different topics. So intuitive eating is just a concept on its own. It's not related to weight loss, and it's also not related to weight gain. So a lot of people think that when you start eating intuitively, and that means when you allow yourself to eat anything you want, right? I'm like, whoa. Well, people will eat burgers and cakes, and they start overeating because they can eat anything they want. And that's not true. It doesn't mean you will gain weight. And some people do gain weight, and some people do lose weight, and that happens. But there's no way to know what's going to happen for sure, and if the person is doing it right. Because there are no strict rules. There's no... I know so many different programs where they explain you how to do it, but at the same time, they don't go into details how to really listen to your body, how to really figure out what's going on. Like for me, right, there are two different ways to listen to my body. Because when I look at cake, the cake looks amazing, so it doesn't mean that my body wants it, doesn't mean that I want it, that doesn't mean that I can eat it, right? That doesn't mean it's good for me. So when I look at cake, my hungry eyes are wanting that cake. I'm like, whoa, I want that cake. It looks good. And logically, right, you will think, okay, you want that cake. That means you eat that cake. That means it's good for you. That's intuitive eating. Eat what you want, right? That's not true. And that's why you need to go into those small details where it's very important to distinguish what you want, what your hungry eyes want, right? And what your body wants, and how to listen to your body, what it needs, right? When I look at cake, yes, my hungry eyes want it at this moment, but then I ask my body, does my body want this cake? And then I get tension in my body, I get thoughts like, no, I don't think it's gonna be good for me, I'll get sugar rush, I get something going on, it's gonna be too heavy, it's gonna be too sugary. And I started listening to all these cues in my body. I'm like, okay, I don't want that cake, even though I want it with my eyes, even though I want it with my thinking mind, right? My body doesn't want it. So those small distinctions and those small things can make it or break it, right? And can make big difference in what people do and how people perceive intuitive eating and how they try to practice it. So it's very important that you find the right information. It's very important that you find very good information that will help you, because yes, if you start eating whatever your hungry eyes want, yeah, you might gain weight because you're eating all the junk food and you're eating all the sugar, because they display it for you so beautifully. Like every time I go to a bakery, I'm like, I want all the cakes they have on display because they look delicious and amazing. So it doesn't mean it's good for my body. It doesn't mean my body wants it, but my hungry eyes want it. So there's so many little things that you need to know about intuitive eating in order to do it right, in order to get the results that you want. Another misconception, or you might say simplification, of intuitive eating is the statement, when you're hungry, you eat, and when you're not hungry, you do not eat, or when you're not hungry, you stop eating, right? When you're full. Again, on this topic, and I can talk about more other topics that it's a little bit more complicated than that. That's not completely right, because sometimes it can be emotional hunger, right? So sometimes you feel cravings and you feel it like really in your body, but that craving in your body that you might even feel in your stomach grumbling, even though you ate 5 minutes ago, it may be emotional hunger. So does it really mean that you're hungry? Maybe not. So you need to figure out a way to differentiate it. So also, sometimes our body needs some time to process food, right? So let's say it happens for me on the big holidays when I eat a lot of food and the next day, it's a very strange thing, or when sometimes I go on vacations or I go somewhere traveling and I didn't get really, healthy food, and I started eating a lot of, processed food, a lot of heavy food. It kind of becomes a craving where I crave more processed food, I crave more heavy food, but I know that internally, I know my body doesn't want it, it's too heavy, but there's still craving. So differentiating that craving and figuring out why is it happening, what is happening in my body, does my body really want that food, or maybe it wants a salad because there's been too much heavy food going on, and maybe we need to make it light, or maybe even skip a meal, even though our tummy might feel a little bit hungry, right? But that's not a real hunger, because our system is too much stuff going on in our system, and it needs rest. It needs, maybe something lighter, maybe fruit, or maybe something else. So there's certain things that you need to figure out for yourself, and it comes with experience, it comes with practice, it comes with, knowing what's going on, it comes with information. So it's not as simple as okay, I'm hungry, I eat, I'm not hungry, or when I full, I stop. Sometimes our hunger, it's so interesting, right? We all know sometimes we eat, and only 15 minutes later you realize that you overate, but you should have stopped before. So also that delay in when we eat and information, when our brain receives that we're full, can be, delayed. So sometimes we overeat because the brain didn't receive that information. So knowing this detail also important. So as you can see, there's small details that we go into intuitive eating that doesn't make it as simple as, okay, hungry eat and not hungry don't eat, right? So yeah, it's technically right, but then once you go into details, it's a little bit more complicated than that. Another misconception about intuitive eating is that you just, do whatever you want, you just give up, you eat what the heck you want, you forget about nutrition, you forget about, whatever it is, you just eat whatever you see, whatever it looks appealing, you just start, eating it. That's not true. Nutrition is also very important. nutrition important, healthy food is important, figuring out what your body really wants. Is it that, is it the heavy food, processed food, deep fried food, or is it maybe healthier option of that food? So figuring it out, it's not just as simple as like, okay, I see it, I want it, I eat it. No, nutrition is also very important, but once you get into intuitive eating, once you start listening to your body, once you start figuring out how to react to certain, foods, once you start allowing yourself to try different foods, maybe try different healthier food you've never tried before, and I guess the answer to every single misconception in my list is it's complicated. It's more complex than it is. It's not just simple, like, okay, I eat what I want, that's it. Because figuring out what your body really wants, it's completely different story. As I told you, there's distinction between what my hungry eyes want, right? And what my body really wants. So it's not eat whatever you want, is what your body wants, and you figure it out. Another very common misconception, and because there's eating in the word intuitive eating, right? In the words intuitive eating, is that intuitive eating is only about food or eating habits. And that is not true, because it's all connected. Our brain, our mind is connected to our body, and it controls our body. So it's about our mind settings and changing those mind settings. It's about loving ourselves, because if you don't love yourself, if you don't take care of yourself, you will be prone to eat unhealthy food, and you will be craving unhealthy food, because it's okay to eat, stuff that's not good for you, because you're it's a habit, or, you just whatever. So you go in on your lunch, you're like, I don't have any time to pick, I don't have any time to go pick up something fresh, I'm gonna eat whatever, right? So it's about learning how to love your body. It's about learning how to take care of yourself. It's way more than just about eating. It's also about emotions. Emotions are so important, because emotional eating is the number one reason why people overeat, right? And why people try to stop their emotions with food. And that's also not good, and that's what intuitive eating is about, working with our emotions and recognizing that sometimes we do emotional eating instead of normal eating. Instead of just getting food as a fuel, we are trying to eat up our emotions and trying to get rid of them, even though it doesn't work. I mean, I wish it would. But fortunately, when you eat, it doesn't resolve anything. I mean, I wish you could eat something, you can eat a piece of cake and then all your issues are resolved, but they're not going anywhere. They're just sitting there. So eating emotionally doesn't help you in any way. It doesn't make you healthier, it doesn't make you better. So working with your emotions, working with your body, working with your body image, working with your mind settings, changing your mind settings, it's so much more than just eating. It's so much more than just food. So it's very broad, and again, as I told you guys, the answer to all of this misconception is a complex thing. So it's a complex subject that you need to learn about, and you need to figure it out for yourself, because it's life-changing as well. It will change your life forever, and will change your life for better. And the last misconception, I've been talking too much today. The last misconception that I wanted to talk about today about intuitive eating is that it's learn it once and done kind of situation, right? So some people think, okay, I'm gonna read this book, I'm gonna do it, that's it, that's all I need to know, that's all I need to know for the rest of my life, I'm done, I'm good, I know everything I need to know about intuitive eating, I know everything I need to know about my body. Doesn't work this way. Sorry. I wish it would. But it's a lifelong journey of getting to know yourself. It's a lifelong journey of figuring out what your body wants, how your body reacts to certain things, what your body experiences. I mean, yes, once you learn the basics, once you figure out how to listen to your body, how to take care of your body, of course, you know the basic stuff, so it's easier. So it's kind of, you know, you cover all the bases, then you're good to go. But there will be changes in your life that your body changes, right? At a certain age, there are hormonal changes, there, you know, sometimes you move somewhere, sometimes your, you know, family changes, your eating habits changes, right? So it can be so many things that change in your life, and you need to adjust to it. Okay, my kitty is crying again, so just give me a second. So yes, I got her in. She was lonely. She wanted to talk. So yes, it's once you know the basics, you're good. You're kind of have this, you know, how you call it when in the buildings, the base that you stand on, right? You have very strong base to stand on, but then you know, your body changes. Everything changes in our life. Like the only constant in our life is change. So be prepared that sometimes, you know, the rules that worked for you before, sometimes they go out of the window. You have to figure out new ways to figure out a certain thing, right? So sometimes maybe you listen to your body and reacts a certain way, but one day it like doesn't work anymore. So maybe you will need to figure out another way to do it, or maybe you've been craving certain food and maybe that's not the way you should be figuring it out, right? What is it craving, or is it not craving? Is it emotional? Is it physical? So all of these things, they can change, and our life changes, and it's totally normal. Our, like, with age we change, right? Our hormonal situation changes. So there are so many things that can change, and we just need to figure out and learn and to adjust and learn more about our bodies and ourselves every single day. And it's a beautiful and amazing journey that you will love, because you will feel more connected to yourself once you know more about yourself. You'll feel so, you know, in your body. Like before, I remember when I didn't care, when I was eating all the junk food, I was stressed out and I was always on the diet, and I realized that I didn't really love myself that much. I was disconnected from my body, and I was overweight, and I didn't feel like it's my body. It felt like it's someone else's body. It didn't feel good in my body. So once I've learned intuitive eating, once I figured out how to listen to my body, it was like life change. But at the same time, like some days I still learn new things. It's also for me a learning journey. Yes, I know the basic stuff, but it's still a few days it's something changes and you're becoming new habits. Sometimes you like new food, sometimes something else. So every day you learn something new about yourself, and that's a beautiful part of this journey. Intuitive eating, it just, you know, getting to know yourself better, getting to know yourself on a deeper level, getting to know the only person in your life that matters, the most important person in your life is you. So yes, those are misconceptions, and as you can see, the answer to all of them is it's complicated and complex. So you need to dig deeper into it, and I make a lot of videos about like all of these topics where I go deeper into the, you know, things, and I explain more how it works, and I explain more how you listen to your body, right? So hit like if you like this video, and share it if you know that person that will you know, enjoy it, and if you know people that do intuitive eating but they're not doing it right, so they have certain misconceptions. And also leave a comment below, like what kind of misconception you had about intuitive eating, and maybe I missed something, so you can tell me what I can add to this list and maybe elaborate later on in a different video. And also leave a comment if you have a topic for another video. I really want to see what you guys really want to hear about, right? So I want to do topics that really interest you. I want to do topics that really help you, because I'm here to help. And yeah, so if you tell me what you really want to know about, I'll let you know, and I'll share all my experiences, because it's very powerful and it's helpful and it will change your life, and I really want to help you guys. So let me know in the comments, and hit like, subscribe for new videos, because I release videos I'm trying to do it consistently. Sometimes there's a lot of stuff, but yeah, I'm trying to do it consistently. Yes. Okay, so I'll see you guys in the next video. I hope you like this one.